Thank you everyone for joining us. Today we're going to talk about connected TV, two mobile apps, so how to drive performance campaign on a connected TV that directs users to your mobile app. So I'm Manuel, I'm Deputy CEO at Addict, and I'm with Vincent.
Hey, hi everyone, I'm Vincent, Marketing Director at Fubotv. So for those who don't know, Fubotv is a streaming sports service. We aggregated more than 175 networks of local, national, and premium sports network, along with entertainment and news. We're available on web, app, and every type of connected device and smart TV. And we've been having a long relationship with Addict Mobile since 2018.
Yeah, exactly. So Addict Mobile, for those who don't know us, we drive anything related to user acquisition in a service. So it comes from ASO, campaign management, attribution support, creative production, everything's related to user acquisition. We want the app developer to have the hands free when it comes to this. We work with any channel, in any geo, and we have been working for over 600 apps over the past 8 years, and we have 3 offices, New York, Paris, and Madrid. And just to give you an overview of how we've been working with Fubo over the past few years, we started in 2017 with Vincent, actually, with a highlight on the FIFA World Cup 2018 as Fubo is into sports. Then in 2020, we've been working with Molotov, which is a streaming French app. And what I'm talking about this is because Fubo acquired Molotov 2 years ago. And finally, with Fubo, we launched our CTV to mobile app campaigns this year. So it connected all the dots with Molotov, Fubo, and Addict. And I wanted to know, Vincent, what's your take on CTV as you've been doing it for quite a while, and how it's the landscape at the moment for you?
Yeah, so CTV has completely changed of way on where we spend our budget. First, it's a consumer usage. Now, everyone in the US, where we're focused, but also now you can see the trend in the rest of the world, is starting to use connected device and smart TV. All of the apps, their favorite streaming apps, or gaming apps, or any other utility apps are now on the big screen. So for us as a streaming apps, it was obvious that we needed to get our users first on the big screen, because it's where we have the best retention and where we have the most engagement. Because suddenly your app is not just an individual on a phone, but an entire household who you have parents, kids, other member of the family who are watching your content or are interacting with your product. What's been really interesting at Fubo is we're first focused on mobile, web, and mobile app, but then really transition to move those users to CTV and try to acquire them first. So our funnel now is try to get user first on the big screen and then let them use a secondary device.
And we want this session to be insightful, so we try to cover different topics, so it helps you guys to understand CTV better and probably run your campaigns. So Vincent, maybe you want to start.
Yeah, so reach and growth. So the first thing is 90% of the population now in the US has a smart TV or a connected device. The big impact, like I said, is retention. Know your product is in the household, your subscription or whatever the price of your product is divided by the member of the household. The price is divided by the member in the household. You have a high range of device, meaning you have Amazon, Roku, Samsung, Vizio, LG. There's any device for any budget, so you can target your product for any type of income. So it just means you can really tailor your campaign. And then more streaming time. People are just so engaged now that you have the possibility not less just to use your product, but to show your brand and exposure on other platform.
Yeah, another important thing about CTV and why it's booming at the moment is that it's the industry has been changing. So CTV used to be more about branding, less tracking. We don't really know where the money goes. Now, the industry is ready, so MMP are ready to track it and have a reliable tracking for your campaigns to be managed properly. The inventory as well is way bigger, and you can go into the granularity of it to manage it. So it's really been moving from a branding standpoint to a performance standpoint. So I see it as a performance campaign setup, as you would have on any other channel like Meta or Google, but with a premium media that we don't have on traditional UA channels. Another thing is the attribution being probabilistic. There's no iOS constraints, and that's a really interesting thing, is that you're going to be able to track iOS as you would do on Android and compare both. And also the user journey.
Yeah, so the user journey has been really interesting because before we're like mobile to CTV. Now we do like CTV to mobile to CTV because we're using the mobile as like also the missing link of the attribution. So you may probably like all have already an MMP or about to get an MMP. So meaning like you're already ready to do like CTV advertising just because your mobile will be like the missing link to measure the user journey. Also, what's really cool about CTV is the targeting. We've been like, for the last 10 years, working with the different Facebook algorithm and targeting, look-like audience, custom audience. Here, there's like one simple thing about CTV is you go like to contextual channels. What's a contextual channels? Is you directly like choose where you're buying your impression. So meaning, for example, if you go like to ESPN, you know you're gonna buy a sports inventory. If you go like to a news network, you know you're gonna target people who are like watching news. So it just like make it like more impactful because you already know that the type of user you're gonna get without like playing with a ton of different tools like gender, age, income, because it's just like so obvious when you choose like your channel. And of course, you still have the standard targeting with the zip code, the type of device, and the socio and demographic targeting. Just one thing on the device. Oh, sorry. On the device, again, you have to think like there's so many devices, they're all different OS. So really important like to know your audience and who you're targeting depending on the type of device you're using. For example, like tvOS will be maybe a more premium audience, so maybe a little more expensive, but maybe better retention. Yeah. Again, what's really impressive with CTV, suddenly you're not just like on a phone on a small screen. You're in the household, the big screen, in the middle of the living room. Suddenly you give like legitimacy to your brand because you're associating like your app icon logo to the big manufacturer like Samsung, LG, Roku. Suddenly you're near the big brands, and after like seeing so many impressions inside the stores or on the streaming, on the pre-roll and the impression, user like start to associate you as a big brand.
And finally, as an app marketer coming from the performance marketing that we would have on Facebook, on Google, and so on, we want to limit the risk and understand where every dollar we spend goes. And that's a good thing now about CTV is we can manage campaigns and budget way better. There's no really commitment, and you will have quick insights on the campaign. So basically take it as if you would run campaign on Meta. It would be that fast to get insights. Another thing we wanted to talk about, for those who don't do CTV, or maybe if you do, is what you think you have to think about when it comes to CTV, because we're talking about performance campaign, but the media is different, and we have to think a bit differently on how it works.
Yeah. So what's important is, again, like the environment. So the environment is you're not advertising on mobile anymore. You're on the big screen, and you have to choose like what your app is, like what's the best OS and where you will find your best users. So this will take maybe a long process, but it's not too long. But it will be important for you like to see where a user on what type of brand, what type of device, screen, premium, less premium TV they're using. there's one thing that's been really sort of scary when you're going to TV is you think about linear TV, where it was like super complicated to book a budget with the network or with the agency who created your creative, and then you need like to spend a certain amount in a like certain limited of time. Here with CTV, you, like Manuel mentioned, you can start, pause, go back live, cancel like whenever you want. There's no issue with the network, what you booked already, because it's as you go. As you see performance, as you see fit, you just keep going. At the beginning when we did CTV at Fubo, and right now actually what we're working with Manuel and his team is we're always debating, should we do like more branding, more performance? So there's like possibilities to play with the creative, but at the end of the day, you're doing both. And so this is like huge compared like to a small display banner that you can do on the web.
Yeah, you definitely have that branding impact, even if you do a performance campaign as you were on CTV. And one final thing is the attribution. So if you want to be set for success, just think about it as you would do on traditional campaigns. Make sure that your MMP setup is done properly. Make sure it fits your mobile UA strategy overall, and especially the tracking, because the tracking is going to be a bit different, and I'm talking about this right after. So think about it when setting up the campaigns. An important thing is users will see your ads and will look for your brand or product probably on the store or maybe on the web. So make sure that your ASO, SEO, and SEA reflect what's been happening on your TV ads. Otherwise, you may just invest for competitors. So this is really important. Measurement, so that's an important part, and I want to do simple things here, just explaining how it works. So we're going to talk about impression tracking, so views through attribution, and it goes through IP matching. How does it work? Let's say we have a TV here. I'm watching a Fubo ad on TV that's being displayed. So I like it. I'm going on my phone, Android phone, to the Google Play Store and look for Fubo or for streaming or whatever. I'm downloading the app, and what's happening is that the attribution is going to happen as I do have the same Wi-Fi connection, so the same IP. So the MMP is going to connect the dot between my download and the ads. The platform has been showing the ad, and that's why you get connected. The tracking doesn't have any clicks, so that's why when it comes to attribution, you have to think about it and think with your teams on this. Creative is a very important point and has to be thought differently from what we can have on other channels. So first things are making sure that you do a creative that's probably higher quality than what you would have on, let's say, social media, traditional UA. You don't have to go that far on branding with actors or whatever, but make sure that it's higher quality. You're going to be on TV with other big brands. So make sure that first your product's reflected on the ads because they're going to look for it. You bring your added value, easy to understand, and your brand. Another thing is think about big screen. So as I was mentioning, higher quality, longer. It's a longer video, probably 15 to 30 seconds, something we don't really do, like when we go on Meta or on TikTok or whatever. So really it has to be thought differently. It's going to be landscape as well, not a portrait. So that has to be considered. Also the context, what you're going to be doing is not retargeting users, but a context like a channel, maybe a day, part of the day or something like that. Think about the voiceover, same. We don't really do this on traditional UA channels, so think about it to be impactful and so on. Maybe you want to add a QR code. Don't want to talk too much about it, but you can do this as well. And finally, it may be easy to think about it, but don't rely only on one ad to do A/B testing. That's what you do on traditional UA, but has the production of this creative, like if you do a 30-second, maybe a bit longer, time-consuming, some clients just do one ad. You don't want to do this. We want to do a lot more to be able to A/B test, like what we do in user acquisition. And what we wanted to show you guys is a really cool Fubo ad that's been working. So we're going to show it to you, and I'll leave it to Vincent to explain why it's working well.
Why pay over $100 a month for cable when it's half the cost for Fubo TV? Get all the channels you want on the only live TV streaming service rated #1 in customer satisfaction by JD Power.
So it's like
Try free
we
at
pick like our best performing
FuboTV.com.
ad to show you guys. But so as Manuel said, use as many ads as possible, as many are creative. There's a big creative fatigue, more and more, and also you want to have like diversity in your ads. I don't know if you can hear me. Can you still hear me, guys? Yeah. So at Fubo, we use like branding ads. We use like a UGC ads, like think about Snapchat, TikTok's ads that we can put on the big screen or on mobile device. And we use always like, so these ads were always our direct response. So our direct response ad, the goal is like to talk as fast as possible in 15 to 30 seconds to the users. So not to interrupt too much is streaming experience. So we want to be fast and engaging. So we start with the hook, with like here, like saving cost on cable. Then really easy to understand that we have like all the channels and pick like at a glance, like for the user, his favorite channels. Then the focus on product, showing product UI is super important. So you are on the big screen, so you want already to immerse what's going to look your product. So here it's like almost a live demo for the user in live when watching the ads. The added value, really classic. And then the brand, because again, you're doing performance, but here you have an opportunity to do branding. So as big as you can get with like, for example, here we added like our #1 customer satisfaction that we're really proud to get at Fubo. So we're making sure like users are able to see it. And last, where are you available? Who is like, again, super important. And what's cool, again, with CTV is suddenly you can do app and web. You're not like just blocked to send the user to one spot.
And yeah, finally, we wanted to talk about a little bit about the campaign management and how it works on CTV. So maybe Vincent, we want to talk about how we can buy it.
Yeah, so at Fubotv, we do like a lot of different buying for CTV. So the first one is we do like direct buying, meaning we're buying in the app stores of the Roku, Samsung, Fire TV. And also we buy like CTV to mobile, so with Manuel and Addict Mobile. And we buy also directly in platform with our other partners. So there's a lot of different way. It can sound intimidating, but it's actually like really easy and I think like less complex than the current mobile landscape. So really easy to start.
Yeah, I think starting is always good to start with CTV platforms and going to direct buys that can be painful sometimes. Just about the approach, so what you have to think about, it's going to be the same approach as you would have on traditional UA campaigns, but the difference is that if you take like Meta, TikTok, Google, they have a lot of algorithm doing the work. Here, it's not that much, so it's going to be a lot of manual optimization that you have to work on. It's like we like to call it like a bit like the ad networks, like probably 4 or 5 years ago, like having to think about it. And regarding the optimization, you're going to have the same possibilities as you would have on other channels. So choose your partner to be able to bid on CPM, CPC, CPI, whatever it is. Make sure that you have the transparency on publishers, especially the channels, so that you know where you are displayed and how to optimize towards them. Make sure that you work on the granularity from the ad unit, targetings, channels, and so on. So that's a manual work that we would have to do. And finally, check the legitimacy of the traffic because it's a brand new ecosystem and there's fraud involved, so that sometimes you may just buy traffic that's not legit and you have to be careful about it. And to wrap this up, I wanted to, that's a good one. To wrap this up, I wanted to ask Vincent, what's your advice on CTV to the audience?
Yeah, if you already have an MMP, already have an app, just don't be afraid. Like you're already able like to track, to measure. You're ready to start launching your campaign. You probably already have like great video creatives. So if you're like scared like to go on your own and navigate, you can have like work with Manuel and his great team who will help you like navigate like the landscape and kick off your campaign. The big screen sounds intimidating, all the trends right now, but it's not just a trend, it's like a big shift in the industry. And I think really like any marketer like needs to start buying on CTV.
Perfect. Well, feel free to reach out to me or the team here. We are Boost 428, so if you need it, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.